A middle-aged man named Jason lives in New York City and spends most of his time flirting with different women. He constantly lies about his background, creates fake personalities, and emotionally manipulates women just to impress them. Later, he proudly shares all these romantic adventures with his friends and boasts that he can charm almost any woman he wants. One evening at a private lounge, his friend Mark tells him that he is nearly 50 years old and should finally settle down with a mature woman instead of chasing random girls. But Jason arrogantly points toward Mark's wife and jokes that he could easily make her fall for him too. Mark becomes uncomfortable immediately, proving that Jason is not only a flirt but also a deeply insensitive man. Jason's careless behavior becomes even more obvious after his mother passes away. He does not even arrive on time for her final ceremony. His older brother, who had been caring for their mother for years, asks Jason to at least say a prayer for her soul. However, Jason shows very little emotion. Before leaving, his brother hands him the keys to their mother's apartment and tells him to spend some time there alone. At the apartment, Jason sits in his late mother's wheelchair and starts looking through old family pictures. For a brief moment, he becomes emotional and nostalgic. He turns on her old music player and begins moving around in the wheelchair while listening to vintage songs. The loud music catches the attention of a young neighbor named Sophia, who comes over to check what is happening. When Sophia sees Jason sitting in the wheelchair, she immediately assumes that he is physically disabled. She introduces herself and explains that she helps specially abled people with daily care and support work. Jason instantly realizes the misunderstanding, but instead of correcting her, he decides to take advantage of it. He pretends to be lonely, helpless, and emotionally broken after his mother's death. Sophia feels sympathy for him right away. Jason, who usually chases women himself, suddenly realizes that this time the opportunity has walked directly to him. Sophia tells him that she lives nearby and that he can contact her anytime if he ever needs help. The moment she leaves, Jason casually stands up from the wheelchair and reveals that he is perfectly healthy. Although Jason behaves terribly in his personal life, he is still a wealthy businessman who owns a profitable luxury footwear company called Urban Pace. During a business meeting, a young intern named Emma suggests that the company should begin designing shoes for disabled individuals as well. She believes it could open a completely new market and also help many people. But Jason's ego cannot tolerate advice from a junior employee. Feeling insulted, he immediately fires Emma from the company. Meanwhile, Jason keeps trying to impress Sophia. One afternoon he invites her over for coffee. While pretending to remain disabled, he awkwardly struggles to prepare drinks without exposing himself. During their conversation, Sophia admits that although she cares deeply about disabled people, she dreams of dating a successful and financially stable man someday. Realizing that sympathy alone will not help him romantically, Jason suddenly reveals that he actually owns a multi-million-dollar company. Sophia's attitude changes slightly, and she invites him to visit her family's countryside home over the weekend. At the farmhouse, Jason continues his fake act. A playful dog ruins the flowers he brought, and children accidentally kick a soccer ball at him. Despite all the embarrassment, he keeps pretending. There, Sophia introduces him to her family, including her elderly grandmother who survives with an oxygen machine. Soon another woman arrives, Sophia's sister Clara. Jason initially becomes excited after seeing her beauty, but his expression changes when Clara arrives in a wheelchair. Only then does he realize that Sophia actually intended to introduce him to Clara. Clara confidently explains that she is a professional violin artist and also plays wheelchair tennis competitively. Jason secretly has no interest in disabled women, but when his friends challenge him and claim he could never attract Clara, his ego takes over once again. He makes a bet that he can still win her heart. Later, Sophia meets Jason's brother, who immediately understands that Jason is pretending to be disabled in order to manipulate her sister. However, he stays quiet for the moment. Soon Clara starts visiting Jason's office, forcing him to continue his fake performance. To impress her further, Jason lies and says that his company is preparing a new shoe line specially designed for people with disabilities. One day Clara invites him to watch her tennis tournament. Seeing her confidence and determination surprises Jason. For the first time, he starts respecting someone he once looked down upon. Later, Jason travels to Chicago to attend Clara's violin performance with her orchestra. The audience gives her a standing ovation after the show. Deeply impressed, Jason takes her to a luxurious restaurant afterward. During dinner, he almost confesses the truth several times, but becomes terrified of losing her forever. Clara notices that Jason sometimes handles the wheelchair unnaturally, which raises her suspicions, but she has already started developing feelings for him. Eventually, Jason's brother reveals everything to Sophia. Furious and disappointed, Sophia storms into Jason's apartment and slaps him hard across the face. She calls him disgusting for using disabled people's emotions as entertainment. Jason finally admits that he has genuinely fallen in love with Clara. But Sophia replies with a powerful statement. People in wheelchairs are not truly disabled. The real disabled people are those who are too weak to show their real face to the world. Confused and broken, Jason visits his father, who himself spent most of his life chasing women. Surprisingly, his father confesses that leaving Jason's mother was the biggest regret of his life. He advises Jason not to destroy true love if he has finally found it. Later, Jason and Clara join a religious healing trip to a famous church in France that many people believe has miraculous holy water capable of healing disabilities. Sophia warns Clara not to trust Jason anymore. But Clara quietly reveals that she already suspected the truth long ago, because of the strange way he handled the wheelchair. Still, she believed there was some honesty hidden inside him. At the church, a priest privately tells Jason that he can clearly see he is pretending. The priest requests that Jason stay seated, because standing publicly could give false hope to desperate people seeking miracles. However, outside the church, Clara suddenly walks into the path of a speeding truck. Without thinking, Jason jumps out of the wheelchair and rushes forward to save her. At that moment, the entire truth is exposed. After dinner, Jason walks Clara back to her hotel. He casually asks if they can share one final drink in her room. Since Clara has started trusting him emotionally, she agrees. Inside the room, they spend hours talking and slowly grow emotionally closer. However, once he leaves the hotel, Jason immediately stands up from the wheelchair again, proving that his entire disability story is fake. Meanwhile, Clara genuinely falls in love with him. She even thanks Sophia for introducing her to someone who makes her feel emotionally complete again. Eventually, Jason invites Clara to his luxurious penthouse. There, Clara opens up about her tragic teenage accident that damaged both of her legs. She explains that during the crash, her violin remained completely untouched, and she took it as a sign from God to dedicate her life to music. For a moment, Jason begins feeling guilty. Yet his obsession with winning the bet still controls his actions. As time passes, Clara becomes fully emotionally attached to him. She tells him that he is the first man outside her family who makes her feel normal, respected, and emotionally valued. But instead of appreciating her trust, Jason secretly sends their romantic pictures to his friends just to prove that he has won the challenge. After succeeding, he slowly stops answering Clara's calls. Soon he even begins flirting with Mark's wife behind his friend's back. One evening, when she accidentally breaks an expensive wine glass at his home, Jason humiliates her and throws her out. But gradually, Clara's sincere love starts changing something inside him. Jason realizes that pretending to be disabled and emotionally manipulating her was cruel and selfish. Several times he tries to confess the truth, but fear always stops him at the last second. Clara becomes heartbroken because instead of honestly confessing, Jason tried to cover one lie with another fake miracle story. Crying deeply, she walks away from him. Even Jason's closest friends begin avoiding him after discovering his toxic behavior and betrayal. This painful experience finally changes him completely. Jason brings Emma, the intern he once fired, back into the company and promotes her to product director. Together, they launch a special footwear collection designed specifically for disabled individuals. He also visits his mother's apartment again, where he finally apologizes sincerely for being selfish and emotionally absent throughout her life. Later, Jason finds Clara during another tour trip and sincerely apologizes to her. Clara tells him that labels like disabled, special, or different mean nothing without honesty and respect. In the end, Jason truly transforms into a better man. He finally understands the importance of compassion, loyalty, and emotional responsibility. Eventually, Clara forgives him, and the two rebuild their relationship. Sophia also grows closer to Jason's older brother. The story ultimately shows that Clara's positive attitude toward life not only brought happiness back into her own world, but also transformed a selfish and emotionally careless millionaire into a kinder human being.